And welcome to the Citizen Report. I'm John DeShannon. Thank you for joining me tonight. As always, this newscast is real, in-depth American. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always good to be back with you. Well, I have two reasons primarily to do this show tonight. The first reason I'm doing this show tonight is because this is something of a warning, shall we say, or a caution, a word of caution. So, and I'll tell you about the other reason a little bit later, but I just saw part of a video from David Nino Rodriguez. Now, I don't always agree with everything he does on his channel, but he did say something tonight that was very interesting. He basically said, if I'm summarizing it correctly, that he's not ascribing to the notion that Trump will be back in August. He thinks it's a trap. Now, I personally, I've also been kind of weary of these date setting stuff. I'm not saying that Trump won't be back like that, but David Nino Rodriguez has basically said it doesn't sit right with him. And actually, when I think about it, it really doesn't sit right with me either. Because if you think about it, the mainstream media, they try to put out false narratives, and any movement that you have, good or bad, you're going to have infiltration. So right now, the best way I know how to put this is we have to be extremely discerning now more than ever. And I'll tell you, it's a lot of times it's hard for me to put a show together like this because the information out there, there's so much misinformation and disinformation, and narratives and counter narratives, that it's really hard to cut through all of that and get just to the facts, because that's what I want to bring you is facts. That's why I call it a newscast. I'm trying to bring you factual information. In this case, I'm just basically putting my voice out there to say that I'm also concerned that this idea of Trump being back in August. Now, we've heard from Mike Lindell, we've heard from Sidney Powell, I believe others that have basically alluded to the notion that Trump would be reinstated. I do believe that there is a plan, but that plan, as David Nino Rodriguez says on his YouTube channel, it has to be peaceful. Basically, you have to, and this is me talking here, you have to operate through the rule of law. You have to operate through the rule of law. And basically, I think, as does David Nino Rodriguez, if I'm understanding what he said on his video to be correct, they're trying to create unrest. And I think that what they're trying to do is they're trying to set up patriots. They're trying to set a trap, basically. They're trying to create this situation where the patriots latch on to something, and then they say, oh, see, they did this. Now, I don't know. I don't have any insider knowledge about when things are, could happen. We know that things are going on in Arizona. It looks like there's also some activity going on in Georgia pertaining to audits. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But just a word of caution. Now I'm not being a hypocrite. I have also brought up about the August stuff on my newscast before, on the Citizen Report before, and but I will tell you that I would also say that it doesn't sit right with me as I sit here tonight. Could something happen where the rule of law is, where they operate through the rule of law and things happen a certain way? Yeah, I could. I don't think it would be right for me to rule it out, but at the same time, there's something. It's just like the January 6th situation. They're trying to set us up. I think they're trying to set up patriots. And we know what happened on January 6th, by the way. We know what really happened. I'm not going to get into that because I also know algorithms, I'm sure, looking for certain code words. But let me just say, just be very careful about anybody that's saying a certain date. We don't know what's going to happen. Only God knows what the future holds with certainty. I do believe that if the rule of law is followed, eventually what's going to happen is they're going to say that what happened in November is I better be careful what words I use, but they're going to make a certain determination regarding what really happened in November. I'm just going to leave it at that. I think you know what I'm trying to say, but at that point, I couldn't tell you what's going to happen, and I couldn't even tell you what's going to lead up to that. I tend to say, and if you need, I would recommend going to Dave at X22 Report. I'm pronouncing it that way on purpose because the algorithms. And I tend to believe more in the way, more in the logic that he ascribes to regarding how things could play out. But again, I don't know, and I think it's wrong for anybody to say they know with certainty what exactly is going to happen. So we have to be very, very careful regarding anybody in any narrative where they're trying to say that a certain date is going to be followed. I don't think at this point anybody knows about a certain date. I do believe there's a plan, but again, the rule of law, the Constitution has to be followed. And there are laws concerning how elections are supposed to be done. And the rule of law is how things are going to be resolved, if it's to be resolved. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. So I wanted to come on and basically give a word of caution. And again, I'm not being a hypocrite. I've also talked about August before, or at least, or I should say, at the very minimum, I've mentioned it. But I think we have to be exceedingly discerning and careful regarding just latching on to any one narrative, because I think they're trying left and right. They're trying to constantly, from all different directions, trying to get us to latch on to stuff. So we have to be exceedingly discerning, and even the voices that claim to be alternative media, we have to also be discerning of as well. So I wanted to come on and talk about that tonight. Let me also say something else. I mentioned on my Sunday broadcast of the Citizen Report, the episode I taped on Sunday, that I would be taking a break until June 14th while I deal with, I was talked about being depressed and things like that. I am rescinding that break. I've decided, I really don't need to take that kind of break. And also, well, I kind of knew that pretty much immediately anyway, but also I realized that the best thing I could do is continue doing this anyway. I will just ask that you continue to pray for me. I am okay, just for the record, just so everybody is clear on the same hymn sheet. I am completely fine. Yes, I struggle with depression, but I'm fine. I'm a Christian. I have the eternal hope in Jesus Christ. Even on my bad days, at the end of the day, because Jesus lives, I can face tomorrow, right? So I am okay. Just keep me in your prayers. I really do appreciate that. I produced a video earlier today, just a personal video. I decided to pull that down, so I'm replacing it with this, just to say, it has been a rough period of time for me, but I'm okay, and I will be okay. Just keep me in your thoughts and your prayers. I get depressed, but I'm going to be okay. All right. So I before I wrap up, let me just say that let me reiterate what I said just a moment ago, and then I'll also add something else. So again, we need to be exceedingly careful regarding any dates that anybody sets, but let me also say that anybody that claims they know exactly how things are going to play out, I would be exceedingly weary, or I should say exceedingly careful regarding that, because I don't think anybody knows with certainty. People can certainly speculate, and they're free to, they have the right to speculate and make theories, but someone that says they know without a shadow of a doubt how things are going to play out, and that things are going to play out in a certain way, or maybe in a certain time frame, we just don't know. We don't know right now. Only God knows the future with absolute certainty. And let me also say this. Now, I mentioned a while back that I am going to be creating a Patriot panel, or basically what I should say is I'm going to be creating basically once a month. I'm going to be having a Patriot panel or that's kind of the target. About once a month, I want to bring on some guests that talk about topics. And I know that I wanted to do it the first one last month, but obviously that didn't pan out. Obviously, May was a very crazy month, very crazy month. But I want to try to see about assembling it this month. I'm not guaranteeing that it's going to work out, but I still want to do that. So if you're interested in being a guest, being part of a panel, please get in touch with me. And if you know of anybody that would be interested, please forward this episode to them and let them know, so that they can reach out to me. But I there's at least one person I'll be reaching out to regarding that, maybe more. So anyways, I just wanted to add that as well. As far as I know, before I wrap up, let me check in real time. And Stinger.live appears to still be down. I am quite seriously going to try to figure out if I can reach out to anybody that's behind the website, the social media platform, and see if I can figure out what in the world is going on, so I can report to you what's, if I can, what is going on. Hopefully it's just a temporary outage, but we don't know. Censorship is kicking into high gear, so it would not surprise me if something happened to them in a similar fashion as Parler, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. I'm going to try to reach out to somebody. If anybody knows contact information concerning them, please get in touch with me. I would greatly appreciate it. And also continue to keep me in your prayers. As I said a few moments ago, I'm hanging in there. I'm going to be just fine. I'm a Christian, so don't worry about me. But just keep me in your prayers. I really do appreciate it. So on that note, God bless each and every one of you. And thank you for watching the Citizen Report. And I will see you right back here again next time. Have a good night, everyone.